You earn below 40,000 Kenyan shilling, that's like approximately $350 or say $400 at most, around there. And if you're interested in achieving financial freedom, or should I say you're interested in achieving what we call wealth or riches, listen, there's some of the things that you need to stop them. And on this case, or rather on this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of them that you're supposed to stop doing. And of course, I'm going to mirror that with the 5 things that you should be doing instead for you to achieve that what you're aiming for. By the way, this will be a very tough conversation. Some of the things I will tell you to stop, you really love them. And by the way, there is nothing wrong with doing them. It's only that they will kill your financial future, or should I say your financial destiny. This is good Joseph at all the time. I try the best as I can to come here and share with you the truth, no matter how tough it is, even for me to share with it or with you. But I have to make it sure that I leave this message with you. Who knows, perhaps it can actually help you. So if you need, or if you love this kind of videos, go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment on the comment section, and don't forget, like this video. Let's go on the business. Now, the first thing I want you to stop doing, for God's sake, you can't afford to pay someone else. Okay? You can't afford to pay someone else. Let me explain what I mean by this point. There are some of you, you earning, say, a salary of 35,000. Yes, you have a house help in your house. Well, I know you really need that person. I know you really need their services. But let me tell you for sure, this will kill your financial. For example, in Kenya, we have a law under the labor laws or in whatever. It says the minimum that individual can get is, I think right now, is, I'm making this video in 2025, it's around 14,000. That's the, I think it's 15,000. That's the minimum that you can pay them. Now you're earning 35,000, for God's sake, 35,000. Assuming that you go by the law and you pay this person 15,000 in a month, that's like $150. Gone. It's like almost half of your salary is gone. You're left with 20,000. Can you imagine 20,000? Now you have to plan about this money. And don't forget, this person that you're paying 35 or rather 15,000, they have to eat from your place. You have to make sure that at least you pay the electricity. You guys, you're earning almost the same. And yet this person, quote unquote, does not pay the rent as per that particular place, assuming that maybe he or she doesn't have, somewhere where, you get what I'm saying? For God's sake, for now, you can't afford to pay somebody. I know you might be like, okay, Joseph, but I can pay mine 10,000. Regardless, still, this is a lot of money to deduct from 35,000. If you deduct this money, then you're left with 25,000. If you're left with 25K, honestly speaking, deduct the rent here. Someone who is earning that amount of money, so what happens is that you can't afford to pay someone else here. I know you may laugh. I know it comes with comfort. Some of you may say, hey, you know what, Joseph, I have a kid. They need to be taken care of. It is true. If you can have an arrangement whereby at least less of this amount will actually go towards pay somebody, then that will be great. And that's why I told you guys, the journey to financial freedom is very boring. It is very sacrificial, and it is very painful. And there is no fun that, accompanies that journey. You deny yourself a lot of things. You have to be somewhere whereby you're seeing people enjoying some things, yet you can do so, but then you're choosing not to do that because you're on a mission of achieving financial freedom. So in this regard, then paying somebody might be very, very hard for you to do that. You may afford it based on the numbers, but the reality is it will actually take you way back. Let me give you a case I had with a client. She was earning around 40,000, and I'm telling you, she was paying a house help around 15,000. I am telling you, she was left with around 25,000. To plan that amount of money, she was even asking me, Joseph, I heard of you, I usually hear of you talking about investments. I do not have any money to actually set aside to invest. And it is true, it will be very hard for that individual to even have a surplus cash for her to be able to invest or do something about it. So with that regard, then it is good to make sure that you look for another alternative. For example, you can think of having what we call, leaving your kid to a daycare. Again, I know it comes with its own challenges. That's why I said there must be a sacrifice somewhere. There must be a sacrifice somewhere for you to do something about this money that you're paying that individual who is out there. Number 2, that you shouldn't be doing, if you're earning a salary of below 30,000 or rather 40,000, please don't pay a rent exceeding 15,000. Please don't. Just don't. Just don't. You find somebody earning a salary of 40K in a month. That guy is paying, for example, we say in the finances, what do you call it? In personal finance, we say don't pay your rent with over 30% of your what? Over 30% of your income. Now, what is 30% of 40,000? That's approximately 12,000, if I'm not wrong. Now, because 10% of this is 4 times 3, then it's around 12,000. Now, you find somebody paying 15,000, 16,000. You can be shocked to find that somebody paying at 20,000. If you ask them why, they'll be like, you know what? Why I'm paying this amount of money, it is so secured, it is so good, the ambience is okay, I love the accessibility, everything. It's all about, how they feel and the place and all that. I know you are in a business of trying the best as you can to prove to your enemies that indeed you're becoming successful. And I'm telling you this, listen. If you're watching me on this particular video and you're already successful, you don't have to tell us you're successful, but tell us how the journey was. See, people tend to think like your journey to success is usually accompanied with you going along with your habits, going along with your comfort and fun. No. Do you know the pain that you feel deep inside of yourself? You're earning a salary of 200,000 in a month, yet you're living in a house worth 15K. Do you know how it feels? You're earning a salary of 200,000, but you're living in a house worth 15,000. You are leaving yourself with the whole 185 Gs to do whatever you want. Of course, to eat, dress, and do other things. Like you. Do you know how when you see your friends who is earning half of you, earning 100,000, and they're living in a house worth 30K, double of yours, and they're living in a very nice, good, posh, elegant, leafy suburbs areas. You go to their place and you find that they have a very nice parking and all those things because they also took a car loan, and there you are with your 200,000, you're paying a house rent of 15,000, you don't even have a car, but there you are, you're building your empire, you're building your future. Do you know how painful you usually feel? But you know one thing, you know what? I'm gonna give myself for the next 5 years. But now when I break off that cocoon, I'm gonna be somewhere else. And I'm telling you, that's not you can tell me where I live is good, it's secure, suburb, live in suburbs, very nice, very posh, very elegant. At the end of the day, I'm telling you, you choose your comfort now or later. It all depends. And when this person decides to sacrifice for the sake of future, when they're enjoying, for example, let me give you 2 examples here. Let me pick my duster. Let me give you 2 examples here. You have 2 individuals here. Let me create a space here for me to write. You have 2 individuals here. A has a whole basket of 500K, and B has the same basket of 500K. But let's say A is stupid. They don't know how to invest. For them, they think, oh, wow, these are a lot of money. So they simply get this money from the basket and start enjoying life. They throw parties, they have fun, they drive, they just have parties and everything and what have you. From the primary money, that is from the basket. Let's assume these guys, they inherited this money. Let's assume that, okay? And let's say this guy is wise. And they decide, I'm going to invest this money of mine. And this money of mine going to be giving me, let's say, 50K. And then this guy decides, I'll now be enjoying lifestyle of 50,000. Do you know what happens? This guy will exhaust his money, let's say, in 3 years, for example. I'm just throwing random numbers there, okay? This guy will exhaust his money in 3 years. This guy will keep on feeding on this 50,000 as far as the investment is still there the rest of his life. And you're going to still leave that money there. Now, this is primary money, and this is secondary money. This is only primary money. Are you together? Now, what happens is that this money that you're getting when you're employed, it is a primary money. It should be invested. Now, what you get from the primary money, which is the secondary money, that's now what you should be enjoying. You get the discrepancies. So please, if you are earning a salary of less than 40,000, please avoid houses worth 15,000. Please, I beg of you. I really beg of you. I know it comes with fun. I know men can understand. Sometimes ladies, you find it's a bit tough. And I'm referring to our wonderful, beautiful, smart ladies of our Kenyan country. I know how sometimes they behave when you tell them, hey, this house rent, it cannot, I know, I know, I know. And by the way, it does not mean that they are bad. No, it's the way they perceive life, which is okay. That's why we are here to teach each other. So what happens is that, please do not do that. You have to sacrifice. I told you money is spiritual, and anything that is spiritual, there are some sacrifices involved, and it's not fun. Number 3, what you're supposed to avoid if you earn this amount of money, you're supposed to avoid home deliveries. Do you know what we call the home deliveries? You order food. Let me just put it as home deliveries. I will explain what I mean by home deliveries. You're seated on your couch, you go to, those apps, those wonderful apps that and by the way, there is nothing wrong with you ordering, but there is total lot of things that are wrong with you just ordering with that amount of salary. You're just seated there, you do Uber Eats, you do Glovo, you do whatever you do, and there's nothing. They are great companies. We love them. I mean, we should support them, isn't it? The only thing I'm saying is that, hey, before you order those things, please check on your numbers, how the numbers are. You find somebody don't want to even prepare your supper. You find this person eats out all the time. By the way, do you know it's very expensive to eat? You find somebody is earning that amount of salary. I saw somebody who was actually a senior bachelor. That guy was not even cooking in his house, was just eating from the hotels. Or here we call them hotels, but from where you come from, probably you call them restaurants. Seeing it from the restaurants, the guy was just, if you go to his house, there is nothing like shopping, there is nothing like, he just eats out, and it's very expensive. And by the funny thing, the guy was so thin. Okay, in Africa, when you're thin, we say you're poor, but when you're fat, we know you are healthy, Welcome to Africa. Or maybe probably Kenya. Now, what happens is that you find this person is just eating out all the time. But you see, the financial muscles are not allowing you to do that. Again, I did not say eating out is bad. There are people who take my message literally. I didn't say eating out is bad. I said eating out when you're not financially okay. That is where the mistake is, because you're shooting your foot. But if you go out there, you do your shopping, you buy your cereals, you buy your, whatever you need to have in your house. I don't have to mention everything that you need to buy, Then you cook from your home. There is a lot of money that you save. Some people even go to an extent of even carrying their lunch. Well, I'm not saying that everyone should carry their lunch anyway, but, well, if that means that it's going to save your cash, so be it. I've told you, and I'm going to repeat once again, that the journey to financial freedom, it requires a lot of sacrifices. You just have to let some things go, and you'll be like, no, I can grab that. No, you can grab that. But you're like, nah, let it just pass. Let it just pass. But of course, when you embark on journey on investment, again, don't be, there are people who just save, invest. You are 50 years, you save, invest, 70 years, you save. Now, what's that now? You're not being wise. Once you invest, now you're good. That's why I always tell people, define your financial freedom. Define what the financial freedom is. If you're in a journey, be like, what? If I'll be earning $1 million in a month and I'm good to make that amount of money, then switch off the things and you start enjoying life. After all, this life is short anyway. Isn't it? But you cannot just switch off everything when you're not even achieved the financial freedom. You enjoy for 2 months, the next minute you're borrowing. That's the problem that people usually have. It is good to invest when things are okay out there. That's what point number 3. Point number 4, it is about you going out there and having what we call, let me check it out. Yeah, this is not the time to seek for fun. We call them a luta continua here in Kenya. We call them sherehe. This is where now you party after party. Every time you're eating out, every time drinking with your friends. Let me just put it here on board for the sake of those who are taking notes. Party after party. You find somebody when Friday, by the way, apparently I'm making this video on Friday. You find this person on Friday evening, they disappear from his home. You're going to see that guy at the Sunday evening. Just because they're necessitated to be so bad, okay, by Monday morning for them to show up to their job. I'm telling you, unless, I stand corrected, unless that is how you define wealth. But then, nowadays we have a unique way of defining wealth. Somebody can be like, you know what? For me, if I can just drink and have fun, and for me, I'm already in my wealth status. Well and good, congratulations. You've already achieved the whatever you would like to. Somebody actually got a salary of 84,000. The next minute they did is that they bought themselves a BMW, a Beamer. And I was like, I think that salary was too small to buy yourself a next one Beamer. But he was like, It's my financial, it's how I define wealth. Bima has been my dream car all throughout my life. By the way, you might actually rush to criticize that individual, but they are already. The only thing I told that guy, okay, it's okay, you can go ahead, but one day don't disturb anybody. When you are in your old age or whatever the things, just don't disturb it, including your kids. Of course, I know I cannot dictate to you on what you're supposed to do with your kids, but they also know that they have their own, freedom. Don't disturb anybody. Just have a very nice, good exit plan that you would be a nuisance to anybody. Well, of course, any and everyone needs and requires help in one way or the other, but don't necessitate them to help you in one way. You get what I'm saying? So, party after party, that may actually kill your financial freedom. And the last thing, of course, this is whereby seeking comfort. Everything it's about comfort. You're seeking comfort too. By the way, when you're earning that salary of below 40,000, this is not the time to seek comfort. Okay? Comfort. This is not the time to seek comfort. Because that money can't keep you comfortable, especially with the economy that we have here in Kenya. It can, like everything, it's just skyrocketing in terms of prices. Recently, like a day or two, the fuel prices were actually, rose with several units. So we're like, everything is just going up. So it's a time to really incorporate a lot of sacrifices inside of your life, so that at least you can be able to adjust a number to accommodate what we call this inflation that is coming from the right, left, and center and such. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is not the time to really seek comfort. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be comfortable. I'm not saying that you should be living in a life whereby you're thrown and that's not the way I'm defining it. That refined lifestyle, when you are, and this may not the time, just hold on a little bit until you push your income, to the next level, and ultimately you can be able now to enjoy your life fully the way you love it. This is good, Joseph. Now, those are 5 things that you shouldn't do if you want a salary below 40,000. At the same time, I've shared with you on what you're supposed to do in return. And by the way, if you need my service, that is my number. You can shoot me a call on my WhatsApp or normal call or text, then we can pick it up there if you need my services. See you in the next one.